Call the Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Today is Monday, November 9th. I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the approval of regular session meeting minutes from Monday, October 26th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Courtney, poll the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Scarlett?
Yes.
Selectman Goulden?
Yes.
Selectman Duggan?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. Next set of minutes is from Tuesday, regular session, Tuesday, October 13th, 2015.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Courtney, poll the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Scarlett?
Yes.
Selectman Goulden?
Yes.
Selectman Duggan?
Abstain.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. Next set of minutes is a regular session meeting from Monday, September 28th, 2015.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Courtney, poll the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Scarlett?
Yes.
Selectman Goulden?
Yes.
Selectman Duggan?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. Next set of minutes were Selectmen's regular session, Monday, September 14th, 2015.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Courtney, poll the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Scarlett?
Yes.
Selectman Goulden?
Yes.
Selectman Duggan?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. Next is executive session, September 14th, 2015.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve. Any other discussion? Courtney, pull the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Scarlett?
Yes.
Selectman Goulden?
Yes.
Selectman Duggan?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is Mr. and Mrs. Fells. If you could please come forward. We invite you to come forward. Okay. Just asking. Thank you so much for coming in on this cold night. You can have a seat right here so you don't have to stand up. Thank you for, yeah, sure, please.
You look better on the camera there.
You're in the hot seat.
Oh, yeah, that's camera.
You are, right on camera, that's correct. I don't know where it is, but you're right on camera. So, thank you so much for coming in, and, as a board, we certainly appreciate so many things that you both do for this town. And one of the things that we wanted to do was issue you a proclamation this evening. So I will stand and read the proclamation in appreciation. Known all men by these present, that the town of Webster hereby officially recognizes Marilyn and Gerald Fells for their vision and financial support for the Community Cat Connections relocation to a new facility. Whereas Mr. and Mrs. Fells generously offered to provide the Community Cat Connection with the funding necessary to construct a new facility located at 289 Thompson Road, and whereas the Community Cat Connection operates and maintains a community-based, no-kill cat rescue and shelter to benefit cats which have been abandoned or abused and are at risk for starvation, disease, and overpopulation. And whereas the Community Cat Connection educates the public to the benefits of spay-neuter, low-cost veterinary care, and alternatives to euthanasia, in addition to facilitating general public awareness through workshops and programs. And whereas Mr. and Mrs. Fells have been instrumental supporters of both the Community Cat Connection and Webster Animal Control, who protect and care for our community's furry friends in need. And whereas Mr. and Mrs. Fells have provided an unprecedented amount of support to so many local groups in Webster and the surrounding communities, therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen wish to join the citizenry of Webster on this 9th day of November, 2015, in recognizing Marilyn and Gerald Fells. Thank you so much for all you do.
My wife and I certainly appreciate the recognition and of the proclamation, but we really would be remiss if we don't we have to give a lot of the credit to the volunteers that keep this shelter going on a day-to-day basis. Putting up a building and writing a check for it is one thing. However, going there every morning, every afternoon to make sure that the shelter is maintained properly, the facilities stay clean and healthy, and the sick animals are attended to. That's really is an effort, it's a lot of the volunteers should be recognized for, and we certainly want to share with them, this particular proclamation. It's really their effort that make this happen, more than ours.
Sure.
Thank
So please stay seated for a moment. Any questions, comments from the board before we pass this over?
How many times do we say thank you? Every time I see you, I seem to be thanking you for something. But you're truly an asset to our community. Thank you very much.
No, I know. I think the world of the two of you, and thank you very much for all you've done for all of us. And I think also to Mr. Kelly for Kelly and Kelly Construction, who built the building for you.
I just think it was pretty remarkable. Not many towns have a cat connection, and I'm sure, as you both know, I'm an animal lover, as most of us here are, and just seeing the way that operation has really grown into such a community asset, and only to have such a beautiful building located in my backyard where I can go play with the kitties is a pretty nice thing, but also, just the way it brings the community together with information and research. It's really a great thing that you've been a vibrant part of our community, and we sincerely thank you.
Thank you for everything that you do for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, we'll pass this over. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate everything. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Be careful on that. And I think you have a friend over here.
Marilyn, on behalf of Community Action, as the president of the board, and all volunteers and members, and from Webster Animal Control, so much on help.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Mark Mason, appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Mark? I don't know. Let's see. Thank you for coming in. We have received your letter for the, and you also served on the,
ZBA.
right. No, I'm sorry, you served on, what was it called? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. With, the Master Plan Committee, right? And that was for a full year that you did that, or a little over? Yeah, sure. Any questions from the board for Mark?
Mark's a great guy. I'm glad he's coming back on. I appreciate it. I'll make a motion to appoint Mark.
I'll second.
This is for the
Zoning
regular position, right? Okay.
Yes.
A motion's been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Courtney, poll the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Starzak?
Yes.
Selectman Joseph?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Chairman Ford?
Yes. Thank you for stepping up. We appreciate it again, and just make sure you see some time before the first meeting that you go to, you get sworn. Thank you, Mark. Joseph Kabala, reappointment to Conservation Commission.
It's not here, Mr. Chairman.
He's not here, okay. Katie O'Neill, appointment to Recreation Committee.
Katie's not here.
Okay. So if she comes in, just someone put her on. Christopher, for Classic Motor Car Class 2 license change.
Pastoric.
Sorry, I wasn't going to,
Pastoric?
Pastoric?
Yeah, the O is kind of silent.
Say it again?
The O is kind of silent.
Okay.
Pastoric.
Thank you for coming in. We received your information. Any questions from the board?
Are you taking it over from your dad?
Yeah, my father's been here in town with the business for about 10 years, just to change the name, pretty much. That's all, everything's gonna stay the same.
I mean to go there to look, to take a peek.
We love
Everyone tells me
customers.
about it. but I'll make a motion to approve the transfer.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
Doing restoration or mainly just kind of,
Just buy and sell.
Buy low, sell high.
Minor mechanic stuff.
You didn't have any damage, right? Doing
No.
that fire?
Luckily, you know,
Yeah,
just a little roof leakage, that's all.
that's good.
Any other discussion? Courtney, pull the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Scarlett?
yes.
Selectman Goulden?
Yes.
Selectman Duggan?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. Thank you. Good luck.
Quick question regarding the tax ID number. I don't know if that changes, or does it stay the same, or
You
who I
would,
see.
you would have to go,
that.
my assumption is you would have to go
I've got-
to the state.
See, yeah.
I've
Right.
got the business certificate already. I just don't know about the tax ID number, if that,
Right, the tax ID number isn't a local issue.
Okay.
Right.
That would be, I would contact the Department of Revenue.
okay. That's all for me.
Good. Thank you. Good luck. Next item is Kenny Pizzetti, the Safety Committee recommendations and the cemetery rate change proposal.
Gentlemen, good evening.
Evening.
I just wanted to go over just a quick update from our safety committee as we meet each quarter. Usually we have maybe a little something, so there wasn't much on the agenda, but there's a couple things here we just wanted to bring the board up to speed on, which, as you can see in front of you, there's just 3 items. So I'm just going to start with the Birch Island, clarifying the signage. There's been signage that was put up there, I'm going to say about a good 4 or 5 years ago, in regards to, as we had a lot of traffic problems up there. From the Birch Island point of, from Cedar Drive down, it's actually been classified as like no parking either side. For some reason or another, back then, the signs that were put up from that corner towards Cedar Drive, as you come down Birch Island,
Mhm.
that piece around there is no parking either side. The signs get posted one crossing the other, and I guess through this last summer, it just created a little bit of confusion. So we've had a couple of homeowners and residents come forward and just ask. I think this was in front of the board, I don't know, like I said, a shoot right around 4 or 5 years ago, where we kind of signage that whole section, just to eliminate and safety-wise, make it passable for vehicles that come in and out, so. Those signs that are up there, they cross each other, we were just simply looking to reclassify that, or just clean it up, but it was actually supposed to be as far as no parking on either side.
And this is the one-way area up beyond Waterfront Mirrors coming
Yeah,
around?
Mr. Becker, as soon as you come around, with almost where the pump station is, I'm drawing a blank on the other one-way that comes
The
out.
first one. Mhm.
But it's right on that bend. The signs jog each other all the way to Cedar Drive. Cedar Drive is posted no parking either side due to its width. I think it's only like 15 feet, maybe 16 feet wide. So we had a couple residents come to, one of our meetings, and they were just asking where they had a little bit of parking issues there, where, the chief clarified a couple things to them too, which was a big help. But back then, when we kind of researched it a little bit, it was meant to say, either side for that whole stretch in there, so. We kind of just took a vote on it and wanted to, bring you guys up to speed on that, see how you guys felt.
And this will satisfy a couple of the residents, one in particular who came to us over the summer several times, was having issues up there, so.
Well, I think safety concerns too,
Mhm.
just to be able to get an ambulance if you
Yeah,
have to through there.
Yeah, I don't know quite, I just think maybe at the time, the way they wanted to position it, it kind of meant in that one section either side. But today's time, you can actually get this sign that says, you know, one side, this side. So that's kind of where we were looking to do for that one little stretch. And really no change, because the no parking signs are still in place where they are. We were just looking, that's why we kind of used the word re-clarify and say, we kind of know where they would be going.
So it's my understanding then from the intersection of Birch Island Road at Thompson Road all the way to Cedar Drive is effectively no parking on both sides? Or is that the way it's supposed to be?
No, when you come up on Birch Island, if you look, the right-hand side, it starts almost after Barry Equipment. That was posted all the way to the sewer pump station as one side parking only. Then once you get past that point where that pump station is, from that stretch to Cedar Drive, they were looking at no parking either side.
So this would still have parking on one side of the street between the pump station and Barry Equipment?
From the pump station out.
Right.
And that's still enough of an egress for like a fire truck? Because I know that,
Yeah.
that curve is pretty nasty.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason what many of those residents were concerned about. They had a hard time, and the signs are right across from each other, so it seemed to be a little bit of, you know, miscommunication, dialogue in that time, even for them to write tickets.
Right, it was also
Simply, right,
confusing for the police. They were, they didn't know if they should write a ticket or not because it was confusing. This will clarify it for everyone, and if there are issues up there, the police will go up there and, you know, they'll know too. They have the ability to write tickets.
Do we make a motion individually or
Yep.
in total? I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the Birch Island re-clarify signage. Any other discussion? Courtney, pull the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Stroughton?
Yes.
Selectman Zolda?
Yes.
Selectman Deckard?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. B.
thank you. The second one here is, we just stated it is, which it is Gore Road, but we all know that kind of easier dialogue is Route 16. This is the part of Route 16 that we looked at that was kind of brought up. It came to us again as far as from Indian Ranch up a little bit in that section. I did speak with Mass DOT. They're well aware that that piece is under our jurisdiction, but they are looking at offering us a little bit of help and suggestions on, you know, where we could go a little further with some things. They are involved more on the bottom of their part where McPhee and that big intersection is. That dialogue has already gone forward. It's in engineering, and that's how they determine where they're gonna go for the next budget season. But speaking to them on this piece, you know, they had a couple of good suggestions, and something that I was really like to bring to you guys. I think we can do this as far as just kind of re-signing today where they use a little bit more reflective type of signage, poles and that. Not adding a lot more, but a lot more visibility, catches your eye more. You can see what they're doing, like some of that on some of their off ramps.
This is the
So,
corner.
This is,
This
yeah.
is where they come together.
This is gonna be like from Indian Ranch around that corner,
Mhm.
that piece up there. You know, where we have signage up there now, like, that's a newer thing from Mass DOT. They do what's called a double signage. You can see them on the off ramps, do not enter. Everything's like with a double pole, new reflective type of tape. And this is something that, you know, we can fit on our own end in our own budget on my side. So it was something that I wanted to bring up. We wanted to bring
Do you have
up.
something in particular, or we're just gonna kind of see what's out there and
Well, it's
surprise
almost
us?
gonna be, well, it would almost be the same style. They threw a couple things out at us, again, you know what I mean? Slow type of curve, you know what I mean?
So you're looking for
Pedestrians
both
down
directions?
before- Yes, coming and going, so, I really didn't pick one out. We wanted, as a safety board, we wanted to at least see how you guys felt first, but then we would add to that.
So if we're going up the hill, up into Douglas,
Right.
or coming down from Douglas, is there any way to put in a speed sensing sign or reduce the speed, let's say at 30 or 35, and put a sign that displays speed? Because, you know, unfortunately, we've had a death there, we've had
Right,
several accidents there. And, you know, I drive it every day.
Exactly,
People go way too fast
right.
in that area. So is there a way, do we have to talk to the state to slow people down with signage or?
Well, that was one of their, you know, one of their suggestions was whatever that strip of street is, the speed limit is signed for. So I'm not sure, but I think it looked like 40 miles
Right.
an hour. There were little questions. We thought it was maybe 30 further down, which is basic for the Commonwealth and the residential area. So that was a very good suggestion from Mass Highway to see, even if it was 30 or 40, post that on these newer signage to come where you have cars exiting now, you know, on each end. So as far as changing guidelines for speed limits, that's like Mr. Beckhouse said, that's a whole different process. That's something that we would have to have engineered on our own end. And then you present it to Mass DOT. And it's a little unique because it works off a formula. And the awkward thing about that formula is if the cars on average are traveling at 45 miles an hour and we were looking at 35, well, the math would work against us because they would go with the average flow rate. That's what Mass DOT does in the Commonwealth. So it's a little bit of a tricky scenario as far as that stuff. But that's kind of a new thing. Well, I shouldn't say new, they've been doing it for about 10 years now. They've been taking an average for speed limits in certain areas.
And have they talked about squaring that intersection off? For instance, if you're coming from Lower Gore and you look up to the right, you have to look up over
Right.
your shoulder to
yeah.
see cars coming. So a way to look at that would be to try to square it off, similar to what was done at Depot Road in Oxford. They took away
Right.
part of that intersection, they squared it off, so now you're looking just left and right, and you have perfect vision up and down
Right.
Route 16. Is that something we can talk to the state about?
Sure. I mean, that's dialogue that we can have with them. Like I said, that jurisdiction, that part of the road belongs to us.
Does, okay.
Of course, that type of road still being a route, they still got some say-so.
Mhm.
So, but, you know, their biggest focus right now has been it's on the bottom.
Sure.
That's what's going before their engineering firm, from what I said.
There's more accidents
Right.
clearly at exit 2 than
Right.
there are here.
So just strictly hypothetically speaking, Mr. Becker, this idea I think is pretty good because I drive Depot Road every day and it's a significant improvement. If we were to research something like that, I'm assuming that would have to get contracted out because that's beyond the scope
Yeah.
of highway.
Yeah,
And that would
absolutely.
probably be something that would go to a town meeting vote more than likely to find financing.
Well, I mean, it depends, it would depend on how drastic we're looking to make some changes, who knows? You know, we have a pavement management plan, we have a game plan for X amount of mileage of road every year. So, I don't know, does that fit into that plan? Maybe we do less 1 year of roads and we fix one big corner? I don't know, maybe they would want to help us, but that's dialogue worth having with them, 'cause they offer a lot of that.
So, and then the other thing, if you're coming down 16 into Webster and you're rounding the corner, I can't recall because I don't drive it often, but is there a sign there pointing out where Rawson Road actually dumps out there? Because obviously I think that's a contributor as well.
Yeah.
Because frankly, you probably shouldn't be pulling out of Rawson Road. If anybody does, it's
Right,
suicide.
that's what I mean, that's what
It should
came
be a
across.
one-way.
as-
Yeah, it really should be because it's
as a
just,
safety
that's
committee to
dicey.
say we can, you know what I mean? I've seen a new guideline from Mass DOT.
But at least if there's a sign saying, you know,
Yeah,
caution,
that's what we
blind
said.
road access or
Traffic
something.
exiting from the gas station to that road entrance.
Right.
Or again, reducing the speed, I think, you know, a lot of that is people come fast down the hill.
Yeah.
God forbid you make a left off of Ruston and go to Douglas, you are taking your life into your hands.
Yeah.
Well, what if we were to use that radar unit for a couple of weeks? Because I know that we can't
Yeah.
use it in the winter, but that radar unit that shows you your speed and what the speed limit is prior to, or, you know, coming down from Douglas, from the police department.
I mean, obviously, anybody sees that stuff, they should, common sense should tell them that, you know, maybe they're starting to look at that.
Right.
I mean, it
Right,
would
tickets
be-
to follow.
It would be
Right.
something, right.
I mean, it would
Right.
make, I
Just
mean,
say, you
until
know.
the snow falls, I
Right.
mean, we could, you know, at least use that and get it up there.
It has been there once before, going up towards Douglas. I've
Right.
seen it there in
Right.
the past year, so.
So,
Well, it
I mean,
doesn't hurt, I mean.
no,
you
it
know,
doesn't.
I can just.
In the meantime.
That's just our own, we can just ask.
Right.
Something like that. Squeeze it in maybe before the winter really starts to take effect. At least,
It's coming down that road, and you guys do a great job on the roads, but when you're coming down the road from Douglas, as the chief in the back knows, there's been many a time a car can't make that turn because of the ice on the road, and that house has been hit.
Well, like, as a safety board, we just felt like, you know, the Mass DOT has these, like I said, they let you use this newer modern stuff. And that's something I know we could fit, you know,
Right.
on my end. It's for signage under the budget, so we definitely wanted to ask. I think it's a good asset, good safety asset.
I
Yeah.
can certainly make a motion, do whatever you think makes sense to make that intersection safer with the signage.
Appreciate it.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Courtney, poll the board?
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Zarzak?
Yes.
Selectman Goldberg?
Yes.
Selectman Deggenny?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
C.
And then the last one was, we just, on Point Pleasant, we had just a couple, you know, things, of one or two letters that came before us, and we just wanted to touch base, you guys, where, at least, we looked at a couple different things there for signage. It's kind of, you know, your normal little quiet neighborhood, but it does get a couple cars that come in and out of there. So we just came to the conclusion at this point that the chief was gonna have that kind of looked at as far as a little bit in his patrols and out maybe, and possibly even have a wagon there to see, you know, let people know, hey, this isn't, you know, 40 miles an hour through here. You know, part of it's a dead end, part of it's a horseshoe. I think, but we just wanted to give a quick update on that little piece right there. That's really what we had in front of us.
Good. That's great. The next part was the cemetery rate change proposal.
Yes. In front of you gentlemen, we wanted to just, I wanted to propose to you guys coming up here, we're looking at a couple of rate changes. The last one we had was in '09. If you look at the other sheet, and then the one prior to that was like 92, which was 17 years ago. We wanted to look at this earlier, it's just, I don't know, sometimes one thing falls into another, but, so coming upon this year as we're coming up, we did our survey with our local cemeteries right around us, and some of the newer rates that you see here, that's where we wanted to kind of fit in with that. As far as, we're still a hair under those. If you look at your regular diocese around us, which is Calvary and Sacred Heart. And like I said, after further survey, we just wanted to stay at a reasonable rate, but yet operate in a functional manner. We have a couple contractual issues that we have, and sometimes what happens is we end up paying out of our own budget. So these are changes that it's not feasibly workable that way.
My question is, with the diocese, with their rates and our rates being lower, it's hard to even say this, but has there been an increase in ours because we're not part of the diocese? No.
No, '09 was our last.
No, I mean in the amount of burials at ours since the diocese went up on theirs.
Mr. Chair, I don't have that information.
Okay.
I would say.
Sort of had to figure out, right?
I would say,
Well-
unfortunately, we're probably just as busy as they are. And that was my dialogue speaking to them. You know, even some of them in the field were wondering how we were doing it where we work. So.
Was it fair to say we're not making money on this deal?
Well, yeah, because we're paying sometimes out of our own.
Well, and
It's-
that's in my discussions with Mr. Pizzetti and Ms. Jones when they brought this to my attention. They also, in their survey, in addition to the local diocese, they also looked at other communities, Town of Oxford, Charlton, and what they've proposed to you for the plots with perpetual care and then the grave openings are competitive with the local diocese and the local communities. Mr. Pizzetti, the point he's making is that in many times, you know, our Saturday overtime that's required for our Saturday or weekend holiday burial, or an after 2 p.m., which requires overtime. In many cases, because we had a flat rate, and quoted a flat rate, we were losing money. So it ended up coming out of our operating budget rather than the cost being covered by what our funeral directors are charging for this service. So what we did was, rather than doing a flat fee, as we've done in the past, it's a flat fee for the sale of the plot and the perpetual care and the grave openings. But then as far as the labor costs, we're just going to break even. We will determine if a funeral director calls Ms. Jones and says, I'd like to schedule a funeral for a certain day. They will determine who from our staff is going to actually take the overtime. And then Ms. Jones will get back to the funeral director and explain to them and provide them with a quote as to what it's going to cost. And that will be an actual cost. So we're not making any money off of our labor at all. And we're not going to lose money either. And I don't think that we should be losing money either in that case. So this is a way to see to it that we don't do that.
And the prices here, how is the perpetual care fund? Is it got enough money in it? Will this build to it? I've never really seen the perpetual care account,
Yes.
so to say.
Perpetual care is a fund that is separated out into expendable and non-expendable.
Right.
So our principal portion is our non-expendable portion, and then whatever is in that account then generates the interest, which is then the expendable portion. It's invested along with the treasurer's other trust funds, so it's invested in a different way than our general checking accounts and those types of things are. So we do want to increase that fund. Now, the sale of lots fund is a fund where we used to, many years ago, fund half of one of our parks and cemetery positions from that fund. But when we did that, we drew that down to nothing. And at one point, several years ago, the operating budget, the general fund operating budget, had to then absorb all the cost of that employee. So we're trying to build that back up again. And that fund can also be used pursuant to Mass General laws. It can be used to purchase equipment for the cemetery and things like that, so.
Any other questions from the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the new rates.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? This would be effective
December 1st.
Courtney, pull the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Starzak?
Yes.
Selectman Zolber?
Yes.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Chairman Ford?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
Next item is the acting town administrator's report.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I participated in dispatcher contract negotiations on Tuesday, October 27th. I attended the Board of Selectmen meeting on Friday, October 30th. I attended a police fire building committee meeting on Tuesday, November 3rd, and a library planning and building committee meeting on Tuesday, November 3rd. I met with the finance team, the building commissioner, and Mr. Paul Zikos of the Zikos Group on Wednesday, November 4th. This is an exciting proposition that our town treasurer has spearheaded. We met, so we have this group that's together and we're working as a group to, we've identified about 8 of our foreclosed properties that we plan on having a townwide auction in the middle of January, on or about January 15th. Mr. Zikos, the Zikos Group is a organization out of Shrewsbury that does municipal auctions of properties. So this is a really great thing. We don't want to be in the business of owning property, having to maintain that property, because I feel very strongly, we have a very successful nuisance property initiative that Mr. McAuliffe spearheaded, and if we have a town-owned property that's in a neighborhood and it becomes a nuisance property because of overgrowth and things like that, the neighbors aren't very happy, and I completely agree with them, they shouldn't be happy. So we have several properties that are viable properties that can bring us some money and get back on the tax rolls. So like I said, there's 8 of them currently that we've identified, and we plan on having that auction in the middle of January. I attended the Board of Selectmen meeting on Wednesday, November 4th, and I attended a portion of the Sikowski School Apartments in Webster Senior Center ribbon cutting ceremony on Friday, November 6th. Under departmental updates and announcements, our auditors have been on site. They began November 2nd performing the FY15 annual audit, and field work is expected to be complete by month's end. Again, the treasurer's office, they've been very busy. The treasurer's office mailed, I attached a letter, a sample letter template, to 127 delinquent taxpayers on Friday, November 6th. These are taxpayers that are included on the town treasurer's tax title list. So this letter went out to 127 of them. We've already started receiving phone calls. Under Town Collector, the FY16 second quarter utility bills, they're scheduled to be released this Friday, November 13th, with a due date of Monday, December 14th. The Police Department, Deputy Chief Budrow was here at our last meeting discussing the gun buyback program that's going to occur on Saturday, December 12th. And I suggest watching the Police Department's website and the Town of Webster's website for additional information. Under the DPW, the town's compost facility will be closing for the season this Saturday, November 14th. The facility is open tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The facility is closed on Wednesday, November 11th in observance of Veterans Day. Ice pigging. Utility Service Group began ice pigging operations today on Eddy Street. I emailed the board a picture. It looks just like the picture that is on Utility Service Group's website. It was really amazing. Mr. Dixon is here in the audience, and he was there with us this morning on Eddy Street. And it was very interesting to learn about the process and see it happen. So that will continue through November 23rd. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the schedule and additional details are on the Town of Webster's website.
Out of curiosity, was there a lot of sediment that came out or particulate? Because all we could see in the pictures was the bottles of water.
Correct.
But what about the corrosion, the manganese, the iron?
Right, so when it came out of the spigot, that's what you got. And then as the bottles sat there and the particulates settled to the bottom, many of those bottles became that lighter brown color and not the Coca-Cola color. And there was probably about that much sediment on the bottom. Now, those bottles will be tested by Utility Service Group's lab and to confirm, and the individuals who are doing this do this all across the country. And they said what it looked like to them was iron and manganese. But their testing will confirm that it is in fact iron and manganese that they got out of the pipes. So. They also provide us with a sample so that our testing facility can also confirm those results. Veterans Services, the Veterans Day Parade will begin at the Dudley Municipal Complex with a brief ceremony at 11 a.m. Parade participants will then march to the Webster Veterans Court of Honor out here in front of Town Hall, where a similar ceremony will take place, and the Veterans Day activities are anticipated to conclude at approximately 12:45 p.m. Under action items, second annual Big Old Turkey Bowl. Mr. Chairman has delegated the coordination of this to myself and Courtney. So Courtney this morning sent an email to all of our departments requesting players. The fire department has already committed 4 members to our team. So anyone who's interested, please get back to Courtney by Friday.
Shirt sizes too.
Shirt sizes. I will be providing shirts, football jerseys for everyone on the team. That will be I don't plan on getting on the field, so that will be.
Doesn't that go against your instincts coming from a certain municipality?
Yes.
Caught between a rock and a hard place.
I am, but I will donate the shirts. How's that? That'll be my donation.
Thank you for your contribution.
Damage to private property policy. I've attached a draft of a policy that we are requesting the board consider and approve. The bad weather, inclement weather, winter weather is going to be here sooner than we want it to be. And I was approached by Mr. Pizzetti. There are several other communities who have similar policies. It's become an issue with individuals coming to us and with issues about mailboxes that have been damaged during inclement weather, snow operations. It's impossible to keep up. And many communities have these type of policies. Unfortunately, during inclement weather, things happen. And short of a snowplow actually going on someone's lawn and coming into direct contact with a mailbox is really, it's really not our responsibility to replace or repair individuals' private property. Individuals also aren't aware, in most cases, that the public way extends beyond, the 20-foot wide roadway. It could extend 10 feet on either side. So, as I said, this is something that I've taken from several other communities and pieced together something that I think fits for Webster. Mr. Pizzetti brought the town of Douglas's. They have a similar policy. I also looked at town of Easton and the town of Harwich in putting together this policy. So,
Gentlemen, just wanted to bring in front of you something that we never had, that's all. Where a lot of other highway units in cities and towns have this in place, That is not our goal to, ever hit anything from the mailbox, that's for sure. But it's just something we never had in place. Sometimes, we'll receive a call. This was a big winter, and actually the guys did a great job because we didn't get that many calls for any type of mailboxes. But we did get a couple. Sometimes it's already, before we even started, that pole might have been rotted, that wood might have been rotted. It's just something that a lot of cities and towns have. I didn't even know sometimes if we even caused any of that, you know what I mean? So this is kind of where, after such a big winter like this was on my plate for a little while, to have something in place is what I asked for, is if we could look at that.
Have we reimbursed homeowners in the past for damage to mailboxes?
what we've done is,
What we do, Mr. Becker, is we kind of have a couple of the smaller mailboxes we got from Home Depot at the time. They're like maybe those plastic ones are, whatever, $8, $9, or even the actual mailbox, the wood piece. If we did do that, we would do that. If it was, pretty, if the truck went off the road, whatever it is. I just think over the past, a lot of cities and towns started to adopt this for the simple reason is you just don't know if you're even doing it, if you're even hitting it. Sometimes the dialogue is they weren't even there, and the calls come in like that, if somebody's gonna hit. So, but that is where we've been in Webster as far as being, a good neighborly unit. We would go out there, it's something that I inherited and continue, but yet at the same time, sometimes, like I said, we weren't even in that area, whether it was a fence, a mailbox or something.
I mean, I would differentiate a town plow hitting a mailbox from the pushing of the snow, which
Correct.
then pushes the mailbox. To
Correct.
me, I agree that's something that we wouldn't do if a town plow hit,
You
inadvertently
can't-
hit one.
You can't help it. All of those, and even the post office would tell you, that they would say, that you're gonna put it at a certain height, a certain this, but yet, it's like your responsibility.
Sure.
There's just, you can't help that. And it's always in the footprint of every city and town in the whole Commonwealth.
And again, the mailboxes, the fences, the stone walls, in many cases, are in the public way. They're not on private property. If it's something that's on private property, that's a different story. But something that's in the public right-of-way,
I mean, we had a couple of things where, you know, it's, and I'm grateful, I'm sorry it happened, but it wasn't us, but a great example is a fence style that got damaged. And the insurance company wouldn't pay for it.
Right.
Because it's on town property.
correct.
Hmm.
Insurance
They
companies are
simply said,
denying the
Sorry,
claims.
we had X amount of snow, they didn't mean it, but you're on their footprint. And that was the result where I got something like, for a great example at the end of the year.
So this
Accidents
is,
happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question, I mean, if we really, you know what I'm saying, if we, for some reason, they ventured off of that road during, you can't see some of these heavy storms, I'd be the first one to, you know, welcome the police. I'm gonna fix your lawn on that, there's no doubt about that. We don't
Yeah.
wanna operate like that.
I think it's a good idea.
Is this also applicable to vehicles during a parking ban? I mean, if, say you have a parking ban, they don't move it, you haven't had time to tow it, you wing a mirror off with a plow, I would think at that point, this covers you there too, right?
And that is also, should be involved in this dialogue, you know? I don't know, that might work a little different, the insurance-wise,
Mhm.
but in general, I know the comment from them would be, did you have a parking ban? And our answer to that is gonna be yes.
And that would go by way of our insurance company, definitely, where this is
Yeah.
kind of locally, has been locally. The only choice that you got, and we've done it, is you got black or you get white.
Right.
They're plastic mailboxes, and we've done that in the past, but, you know, and we're not out to, if we damage someone's property, as Mr. Pizzetti said, he's out there, he's going to make it right, we'll fix it. But the requests have been getting more and more frequent, and
Probably
having a
equivalent,
policy is just,
Well, let me-
equivalent with the snow.
yeah.
right.
Kenny, you can gladly
Just good
plow my
business.
mailbox down, I need a new one anyway, so I'll take the
It's
$8
just
job, that's
unfortunate,
fine.
you know, we didn't even start, and maybe some of them, they're already rotted, you know what I mean? They're.
Well, probably damaged from last winter
You
that
just
still
touch 'em.
haven't been repaired, really.
So, it's, you know,
It's a good idea.
thank you.
Did we want to make a motion to approve that tonight?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the, what are we calling this?
Damage to
Damage to
private
private-
property
The
policy.
damage to private property policy. Wow,
Second.
That's a tough one.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Courtney, poll the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Starsky?
Yes.
Selectman Bilder?
Yes.
Selectman Begavich?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And the last thing under action items is the hazard mitigation grant match. I've attached a memo from our assistant planner, Megan Donahue. The planning department, with a lot of work from Mrs. Donahue, submitted a hazard mitigation grant proposal for funding to replace the generator located at our highway garage. The grant was actually finalized and submitted on our behalf from Woodard and Curran, and an engineering firm that we do business with. We were unsuccessful in getting funds the first time around. However, we've been told to definitely resubmit, and so that's what we want to do. What I'm looking for from the town, and what will help our chances of getting funded, is a vote of the Board of Selectmen as a commitment to provide a 25% match, not to exceed $25,000 for this, in order to receive $75,000 to replace this piece of equipment up at the highway garage. We currently have a 25 kilowatt generator up there, and we're looking to upgrade it to a 35 kilowatt generator. And as I said, to about the tune of about $100,000.
So we would not be making a motion at this point to raise and appropriate at a town meeting, just a commitment.
Correct, and if the board chooses to vote, then I will ensure that there are sufficient funds available to meet this match.
And the old one will be sold.
I don't even know if the old one is in working order, Mr.
It
Pizzetti?
says filled with oil daily. I think that sounds like scrap to me.
Is it in working order?
It's 1970, it came from the old Main Street building, which was over here. So,
Would it be
So you
scrapped?
sell it for
yeah, I would
scrap or
say, yeah,
whatever?
I don't think they want, whatever, just, if they wanted it, trade it, scrap it, it's just pretty much seems time.
And as I said, Mrs. Donahue worked very hard on this grant, and what it incurred, we paid them $2,875, and they're not charging us to resubmit the grant application for us.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion that we provide a 25% match not to exceed $25,000 in order to move forward with the grant application.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Courtney, pull the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Scarlett?
Yes.
Selectman Jordan?
Yes.
Selectman Begavich?
Yes.
Chairman Ford?
Yes. I'll entertain, you have anything, you don't have?
No,
anything
thank you,
else?
Mr.
I'll
Chairman.
Make a
entertain
motion to accept the acting town administrator's report.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Thank you, Pam and Courtney, for taking on the football night.
We'll get you another way.
I'll entertain a motion.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Scarlett?
Yes.
Selectman Jordan?
Yes.
Selectman Begavich?
Yes.
Chairman Ford?
Yes. We're going to take out of order, under other business unknown at time of posting. I know that Brian Perry is here, and the chief is here to give us an update on the construction at this point of the fire department. So Brian, if you wanted to come forward, and Brian, if you wanted to come forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we did receive a letter from Mr. Dixon, so I thank you for bringing this up. I thought it was a good idea to get an update, because hopefully we'll be coming to a conclusion soon.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to come in and give you an update on the renovation project. Chief Hickey is on the committee, and he's here to answer any technical questions you may have, since he's been working much more closely with the general contractor than I. We began the project in the spring. We've cleaned out the space formerly occupied by the police department. We've removed the jail cells, the asbestos around some of the heating pipes. We've re-insulated heating pipes as needed. Demolition of walls and ceilings in order to prepare for the new floor plan, new entrance that you may have already noticed as you drive by. Office spaces, meeting and training room space, bathrooms, all in that former police department area. We've repaired a roof decking above that section of the building, added HVAC units, roof drains, and we've applied a new roof over that former police site. We're adding a security camera at the new entrance that will be monitored by the regional dispatch center. We've replaced all the electrical, data, and voice ports in the building. Mechanical, HVAC, all being replaced, new ducts, ductworks, plumbing throughout the building, a new hot water heater. The telephone system will be replaced. We'll be replacing all the exterior doors throughout the building. There'll be a new security access door lock system, a new fire sprinkler system throughout the building, including the basement. And when I say new, I mean new, because the building does not previously have a fire sprinkler system, or a fire alarm system for that matter, and so there'll be a new fire alarm system along with the monitoring service. You have to understand that the building, when it was occupied with the police department there, had 24/7 coverage, but today, with the police no longer there, the fire department is not full-time, so that there are moments when the building is unoccupied, And should there be a vehicle fire, an electrical fire, any kind of fire in that building would destroy millions of dollars worth of firefighting equipment. So it's important to have these features, which will be new. We'll be replacing all the ceiling lighting throughout the building. There's a new vehicle exhaust system in the apparatus bay. I must tell you, we had an open house several years ago as part of this project, and at the conclusion of our open house, the alarm went off, and Chief Hickey left to go to the scene, and two of the firemen started one of the vehicles, one of the trucks. And the truck is sitting idling in the bay, waiting for an authorized driver to take the truck out to the scene. And in the meantime, those of us who had been for the open house were choking on the exhaust fumes. So this, I just want to point this out so that, you know, the folks understand that what we're doing to the renovation of this fire department is pretty modern, up-to-date equipment, and the vehicle exhaust system and the apparatus bay is pretty important. I know it's something that Chief Hickey's been wanting for a long time. The overhead door has been modified to fit the new ladder truck that's being purchased by the town. The apparatus bay has been brightened up with new paint. We've replaced the water line, including a fire hydrant, which is kind of important because they use tanker trucks and previously didn't have a way at the fire station to be able to refill their tanker. Replaced the gas line. We've replaced the emergency generator with a 50 kW generator that was donated by the Webster School Department. We've renovated the fire department side, the left-hand side of the building as you look at it from Thompson Road. Will be renovated with new bathrooms, a new bunk room, a new turnout gear room. And that pretty much covers the items that are being renovated. I want you to know, as a reminder, these items are not included in the project. The roof over the apparatus bay, the center of the building, and the roof over the fire department, the left-hand side of the building, those roofs are not part of the project. They are okay at this time. We did get bids to complete those two sections of the roof, and to do so, it would be an additional $140,000. The parking lot is not part of the project, and since we're focusing on renovating the building, at the moment, the parking lot is okay, but it really needs to be resurfaced. And I just want to bring that to your attention. Also, the apparatus bay floor, which is okay, it's concrete, but Chief Hickey would like to enhance the floor with an epoxy material, and so that is another item that we have on our list of projects that if we had the extra money, we would be able to do. On the second page of my handout, I just wanted you to know that the total project budget is $2,322,600. The construction contract was awarded to Millennium Builders out of Connecticut at an amount of $1,885,000. The architect is $300,500. $65,000 for CDR McGuire, our owner's project manager. We had budgeted $5,800 for some asbestos testing and $1,300 for printing. We had $65,000 for contingency. If I ask you to change the page, you'll see the budget on the last page. Those where those numbers are coming from. And I'll refer back to that page in a second. To date, we have had 27 change orders, of which $128,428 are credits. And we've had $115,973 in additional costs for the change orders for net credit going back into our contingency balance of $12,455. And that's to date, so that's, subject to change as we finish out the last few weeks here. We also have incurred other non-change order expenses, about $2,100 worth of other miscellaneous expenses. We're approaching a milestone in our project. Millennium Builders has submitted a schedule that shows the fire department moving their office spaces over to the old police side. They're now newly renovated office spaces, and this will take place right after Thanksgiving. And the project is expected to be completed by late January. So we're getting very close to the end. At this point, I'd like to thank the fire chief, the deputy fire chief, for their personal attention to this project. They work closely with the general contractor, the architect, and the owner's project manager, overseeing the progress of the work, and their suggestions have saved a significant amount of money while improving the efficiency of the building. So I'm going to give Brian a pat on the back here because he's put a lot of effort in, along with his team, and that's to be noted. Also, I want to thank the water department and DPW crews because they've been pitching in to help on this project as well, and because they do pitch in, they've saved us a lot of money. I also want a special thanks to Ted Avlis and the Webster School Department for offering our project an emergency electrical generator that they no longer needed. That resulted in a significant credit back to our general contractor's bid. So thanks very much to the school department for their offer. The residents of Webster should be extremely proud of its town employees who work so well as a team. I'm not a politician, I'm a volunteer on this committee, and I've been on this committee now since July 31st of 2008, and I've been attending meetings almost monthly, if not every other week, all those years, and it's just something special to see how well the other members on our committee and the town departments have worked to get both the police and the fire department completed. So the Fire and Police Building Committee looks forward to meeting with you, the Selectmen, in a couple of months to present our final detailed report and close out our committee.
Any questions from the board?
Outstanding work. Indeed. I had the privilege of dropping by there maybe a month ago, and I did see the exhaust, well, whatever it's called, in action. And having working around vehicles every day, I can tell you that's definitely a help to the health. And I can't wait to see the ribbon cutting. Good job.
You know, I toured the building at the same time as Selectman Starzyk, and we were checking out the new water lines that they ran for the sprinkler system and how they accounted for the height of the new ladder truck and put a jog in the system so that when your new truck comes and backs into the garage, it doesn't take out the sprinkler system.
Actually, I was really trying to get Brian, the Chief Hickey, to get the vehicle designed so that its suspension system could be lowered, and then they could drive. And by the way, an interesting thing that I learned from Chief Hickey is that this is an issue in Boston and quite a number of other communities who have older facilities. Brand new vehicles don't fit into the apparatus bays, and modifications are being done all over. It worked out really well for us since we were right in the middle of the design work for the renovation project to be able to incorporate a change to accommodate the new vehicle.
Great.
Now, Mr. Chairman, we're not ready to do high fives yet, but, you know, I think Chairman Perry and the chief here have done an incredible job. It's been a long time on the committee for the police and fire, but we're nearing the end. But, you know, both Brians deserve a, you know, I'd say a great round of applause.
Thanks.
You're not going to know what to do when this is done.
I'm sure we can find a committee.
I was afraid of that.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate all the work that you put into this, and we look forward to the day that it's over.
If I might, you know, the chairman has been working tirelessly, as well as Randy Becker and the other members of the committee, so just wanted to thank both of them publicly for all the work they put into this so far.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thanks, Brian. And Brian.
Thank you.
Staying under business unknown at time of posting, so we can wrap that up. Is there any other business unknown at time of posting? jumping back to the old business, and their old business, the Town Administrator's Search Committee. As discussed at our last meeting, Pam is now, because of our Section 4B,
4B.
our acting Town Administrator. I personally feel that, like I mentioned last time, by the time we get through these holidays, would be a better time for us to look at this and start reevaluating everything. I don't think that we're gonna get in this over the next maybe 60 days. The candidates that we're probably looking for. So my suggestion would be is that we put this off until after, in January, after our first Selectmen's meeting. And I'll open it up to discussion.
I mean, my first question would be to that of Ms. Ledoux, if not having kind of light at the end of the tunnel, if that's okay with you, if we put it off for 60 days.
Yes, Courtney is invaluable in that office, but we're doing it, we're getting it done. If there's something we're not getting done, please let me know, but we're getting it done. The audit is coming along just fine. I plan to have the balance sheet in soon. We'll get free cash certified. It's moving along, so with the help of many people, the entire team.
And furthermore, I believe we were looking to advertise for the possibility of a part-time or interim position also down in the main office. Is that where we had left off that discussion? To try to ease the process before we go through.
We did, and to be honest, Mr. Starzyk, I don't think that I would recommend a temporary person in that position. Being such that we want that position, we feel that what's needed there is actually someone with human resource experience, and make that more of a human resource personnel person. And I'm not very comfortable with hiring someone on a temporary basis and have someone who has access to all of our personnel records.
I don't think I worded that right. I didn't mean so much temporary as in, I know originally it was brought up when we had the search committee that we were going to hold off for the thought that an administrator would hire their own to put in that position, but seeing as that process is basically on hold at this point, I was just following up to see if that position would be filled to ease the workload for the both of you.
Well, and as I explained, being that in that office, I think Courtney, and I believe Courtney will agree, she can handle all the administrative duties of the office. She's been doing that. So even acting as the board secretary, in addition to the town administrator's secretary, we think that that position needs a different skill set than being just and I'm not saying just, but the executive, the executive assistant to the town administrator. I think there needs to be a different skill set for that position.
I think the only other thing I would suggest is, let's not forget about some of the suggestions that came out from the search committee. I think if we have a date when we want to start the process, maybe putting word out to get people's interest in serving on a committee, at the appropriate time, maybe that's 60 days from now. We just don't want to forget about that.
Sure. Any other discussion on that? Do we need to take a vote for that, or? No, because you're in that position, so.
No.
Okay, good. Any other old business?
Yes, I have some old business, Mr. Chairman. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I brought 4 motions for to facilitate cleaning the water lines in town. And one of the motions was to ask the DEP to cease the reverse flushing. But after speaking with Mr. Kraus, I'll withdraw that, and I won't even propose that. However, I still want to propose a motion to put an article on the next town meeting warrant to transfer $250,000 from retained earnings to fund the ice pigging program. So that would be my first motion.
Second.
Do we have, under a point of discussion, the balance of the retained earnings? I believe it was pretty significant.
It's zero.
Until,
At
Oh,
July
it's a
1st.
done deal.
Until it's certified again.
Theoretically.
Until it's certified again by the Department of Revenue, it's 0.
Okay.
What was it at the end of the last
Yeah.
fiscal year when it was certified?
It was over $1 million.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I thought 800, okay.
This sounds like a Jeopardy question.
A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Courtney,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, could we maybe just hear the remaining motions for Mr. Degevich,
Sure.
just in case they also have significant dollars?
they do.
Okay.
Okay, the second motion would be put an article on the next town meeting warrant to borrow $500,000 borrowed from the Water Resource Low Interest Loan Program. And then the third motion would be to petition Representative McKenna for a budget amendment in the amount of $250,000 to the town of Webster. Some
And-
people said that we should go to the state for the whole thing, but that would never happen. I think 250,000 is reasonable to try to get back to the community.
Mr. Degevich, is there a purpose for the 500,000? Is that additional, just capital improvement that we could say, or?
No,
We're borrowing the
it's $1 million
500,000.
total to do the ice picking,
Okay,
to try to get the rest of the town done at once.
so for ice picking?
And I apologize, but in researching that a little further, I don't believe that the ice pigging qualifies for a low-interest loan because it's considered maintenance. Rather, our cleaning and lining would.
Okay.
That would qualify for a low-interest loan. And when we submit for the construction piece of the treatment facility, we can submit at that time, if the board chooses, we can submit at that time for the cleaning and lining program through the low-interest loan also. We can submit as many projects as we want. So, but the ice pigging would not qualify. It's considered maintenance.
But cleaning would.
Cleaning and lining,
Ice pigging technically is cleaning, no?
it's considered a maintenance
By the state.
program. Mhm.
Right, but that would make sense, because when they talk about the cleaning and lining, they're physically taking out the section of the pipe of the road, running a scraper through the pipe and then reinstalling. So it's almost like construction, in a sense.
Which is probably 3 times as much.
It is.
Yes, the cleaning and
Or more.
lining
Yeah.
is.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any other discussion on that motion?
Just wanted to make sure the second was for all 3
Yes.
motions. I'm sorry, because I interrupted after the first one. So if they weren't seconded,
So your motion is for all 3?
Combining them?
Right.
is what you're
Okay, so now you're combining.
3, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
If I could just offer an amendment to the last one, I think that we should petition both the state representative and state senator, for the reason being that their offices typically work in conjunction, and they could possibly try to get a double-sided approach. You know, if there's a little bit of a gridlock on one house, maybe they could get it through the other.
Yeah, I agree. I went through the state to the House, because that's where all bills go first, and then they move up to the Senate, but whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
putting on the radar
I'm
screen
sure they
of
would
both of
both
whom,
help.
both of whom live in town, it definitely would be advantageous.
And
I
they
think.
both want clean water.
All right, a motion has been made and seconded and amended. Any other discussion? Courtney, pull the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Stover?
Yes.
Selectman Julie?
Yes.
Selectman Degevich?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes. Any other old business? New business? Informational mail.
I think we had it.
There was a note on the Community Choice Municipal Aggregation Plan. I haven't had a chance to research it, but
The town does participate in an agreement for a cost savings for our electric supply. And also we're involved in I apologize. Well, 2 net metering agreements and a third once the solar farm is up and running. As far as the residents go, there is a proposal for Nexamp up at Hubbard Hospital. And it's my understanding that Nexamp is going to be extending the net metering to local residents.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. Any other discussion? Clerk, call the board.
Selectman Becker?
Yes.
Selectman Sargent?
Yes.
Selectman Golden?
Yes.
Selectman Begavich?
Yes.
Chairman Moore?
Yes.